Hello, welcome to RC Video Reviews. Tonight we're taking a first look at the Radiomaster TX12. The TX12 is a brand new radio released by Radiomaster, and a couple cool things right off the top. It's a full OpenTx radio, so this is not a crippled firmware version. This is the entire OpenTx radio in a very small form factor. Like other Radiomaster radios, this one's powered by a pair of 18650 batteries. You simply flip the radio over, open this tab on the bottom, unplug it, and pull the tray out. You can also access the SD card right down in there, but I'll tell you right now, it's a little challenging to manipulate that SD card. There is no SD card included with the TX12, so you'll have to supply your own. It's real easy to get the SD card contents. I'll provide a link to those in the description for you. I've installed the SD card contents on this radio and they work just fine. On the back of the radio, there's a JR bay for an external module, so you can provision an XJT or a Crossfire or Ghost or whatever else you want, just like on the full-size radios. This one also has a folding handle, and the antenna is removable. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but this antenna just screws right on and right off. The form factor of the radio required some choices to be made about switches. So as you can see on the left-hand side, there's a slider called S1 instead of a pot. And then you've got a momentary switch on A, a 3-position switch on B, a 3-position switch on C, a momentary switch on D. S2 is assigned to the slider on the right-hand side. And then on the top, you've got an E switch, which is 3-position, and an F switch, which is 3-position. So the only momentary switches on this radio are A and D. The rest of the buttons closely mirror the layout of buttons on the TX16. You've got the power button right here in the center, trim switches for throttle, rudder, elevator, and aileron. On the left-hand side, you've got a system button. On the right-hand side, you've got a model button, followed by a metal jog dial. And then on the left, you've got return, page right, page left, and tele. The power button up front has a multicolor LED to inform you of alerts when you power the radio on. I'll set my throttle in the middle position here so I can get the throttle warning when I boot it up.
Welcome to OpenTx. Throttle warning.
So because my throttle is off 0, the LED is red, and I also have the alarm on the screen. So I'll put my throttle down to 0, and the LED changes to green. Navigation on the TX12 should be very familiar to you if you're already used to a TX16S. You can get to system settings by pressing the system button, and then page through the tabs just like on the TX16S. And then you can get to the model settings by pressing the model button, and then pressing page right. And you can toggle through all the model setup options in OpenTx. It's just like the TX16S. It's arranged just a little bit differently for things like telemetry screens, but navigation should be very familiar to you right away. Because this radio doesn't have the S1 pot where I normally assign my volume, I assigned my volume switch to be S2. So I've got the volume turned all the way down, and I've assigned a track to the D switch. So I'll play that with the volume all the way down, and of course you hear nothing. Now I'll go ahead and turn it up halfway.
Flaps up.
And now all the way.
Flaps up.
I'm going to hold my mic right over the top so you can hear what it sounds like when you boot it up.
Welcome to OpenTx.
So the volume sounds sufficient to me. It's certainly not overwhelming, but it seems like it'll be sufficient. The real test will come when I take it out to the field to fly it. You may notice over on the left-hand side, I've got a couple of receivers that Radiomaster sent me as well. I'm going to give you a quick little rundown on those, but we're not going to cover them in detail today. I'm just going to give you some quick highlights on them. The first one is an R168. That'll retail for $11.99. That's a D16 radio that supports 16 channels on PWM and S-Bus. It supports telemetry, it has a 1 kilometer range, and for failsafe, it supports custom, hold, and no pulse. When I say 16 channels on this one, I'm referring to S-Bus because on the PWM, there's only 8 outputs there. The next receiver is the R86C. This is a $10 receiver. It uses the D8 protocol. It's 6 channels of PWM or 8 channels of S-Bus. It supports what they call return RSSI. I'll have to do a little bit of digging to find out what that specific call out means, but that's how they refer to it in the material. It also claims a 1 kilometer range, and it supports the hold failsafe. So when you first boot it up, you can press the button to set the failsafe to be wherever your sticks are at the time. And then the final one, this is the one that's really interesting to me. They call this the R161. This one retails for $9.99. It uses the D16 protocol. It's 16 channels of S-Bus. It supports telemetry, including flight control data and RSSI. It has a 1 kilometer range. It supports custom, hold, and no pulse fail-safe, and it only weighs 7 grams. I'm really interested in this R161. I think that would be a really good companion for an iNav flight computer. The TX12 does support internal charging via USB-C up top, and it's also got the trainer jack. And in the box, they include the radio, the 18650 battery tray, the screw-on 2.4 gigahertz antenna, and a USB-C cable. There's also a little plug in case you don't use the antenna up top. If, say, you're just using the external module, I guess you can put that plug in the top to clean it up. That's kind of a neat little touch. I thought that was neat. Hey, if you like the work I do here on RC Video Reviews, please consider joining me on Patreon. For about the price of a cup of coffee, you can help me keep making videos just like this one. If you'd like to help out, there's a link in the description and on your screen. All right, let's weigh the TX12. The book says 363 grams. I'm showing 497 with the battery. And 382 without the battery. Just for argument's sake, I took the antenna off. Let's see if it weighs in at 363 without the antenna. 375. Someone's skimming on the weight a little bit, Radiomaster. I don't think a couple grams is going to matter that much on a device like this. One other thing I'd like to show you before we move on is the size comparison with a full-on TX16S. So that should help from a relative size comparison. This is a very small radio. But the ergonomics aren't bad. I feel like I've got plenty of room to be able to articulate the sticks completely and operate all the buttons and switches without any problems at all. I don't feel like I'm having to bend my fingers backwards or conduct unnatural acts to operate the radio. It seems very easy to operate. Before I open the radio up, I'd like to cover a little Q&A I conducted with Radiomaster about the TX12. My first question is if Radiomaster had any key points to make about the radio, and the main thing they went with was the button layout. They said if you look at the two radios side by side, the button layout carries from one to the other. I asked what demand Radiomaster is trying to satisfy with this radio, and they said it's an entry-level radio mainly for people who look for something compact. Small radios seem very popular with tiny whoop pilots, and are also a good choice for children with small hands. That makes sense to me, because I've trained some young people with small hands, and I can see how this radio would be much easier for them to handle. When Radiomaster first asked me to conduct a review for the TX12, I did a little research and found out that OpenTx 2.3.11 has support for the radio, and they're at the 64% milestone as of the posting of this video, which is December 2, 2020. There is no set date for 2.3.11 to drop just yet. I asked why this antenna is removable and still compliant with FCC Part 15 certification, and the answer back was because this is an RP-SMA antenna, it falls under the non-standard definition for the FCC where a normal SMA antenna does not. So that's how this antenna is removable and still compliant with Part 15 of the FCC regulations. I asked if an internal 4-in-1 multi-module retrofit is possible, and the answer is no. This RF module is hardwired and uses a different design than the one found on the TX16. I asked why Radiomaster went without the 4-in-1 in this radio, and the answer was price point. They're coming in at $69.99, and if a user wants the 4-in-1 module, the best choice is the TX16S standard at $119.99. There is some confusion out there on why this radio is referred to as a multi-protocol radio when it doesn't include the 4-in-1 module. The answer for that is because it does include the CC2500 RF chip, which supports Corona, Hitech, Futaba SFHSS, Fursky D16 and D8, Radiolink, and Gropner Hot. So it is multi-protocol, it just doesn't support as many as the 4-in-1 module. The next question I asked had to do with competitive devices. I asked who their competitors were in this space, and they said, well, obviously the T12 and the QX7 or any other option in the price range. Compact radios are a slightly niche product and they're not for everyone. I asked if any bling options were planned, and they said not at this point, maybe later. It'll largely depend on sales of the TX12. I asked why no SD card was included. My speculation was that so many people just change these cards out right away anyway. Their answer was that the TX12 is about price point. They're simply trying to keep costs as low as they can. The SD card is not required to operate the radio, and they provide the SD card on more premium models. I asked when this radio will be available in retail, and they said stock will begin shipping to retailers next week, which is 12/7/2020. Okay, that wraps up my Q&A with Radiomaster. Let's take this thing apart. Removal of the back of the radio is real easy. You just pop off the beauty covers over switches E and F, and then you've got 6 screws on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just unscrew those, take the battery out, and this little cover pops right off. One thing that I see right away that I like is they didn't use PCBs for the switches. I'm kind of happy to see that. I mean, honestly, I'd rather just solder the wires on. So if you have to replace the switch, it's going to be a soldering affair. You'll have to desolder these wires and solder the new ones on, but that's no big deal. This radio does not use Hall effect sensor gimbals. It uses the old style potentiometer. They do provide a lot of strain relief, so no issues there. I kind of felt my throttle was a little loose for my liking, so while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the tension on this and just ratchet it down just a little bit and see if I can get that to grip just a little bit more. That's better. I like that a lot better. The other spring tension actually feels pretty good to me, but if you did want to make the adjustment, here's the adjustment for the rudder, and then here's the adjustment for the elevator, and here is the adjustment for the aileron. So if you want to make adjustments, those are the screws to do it with. I mentioned earlier that you cannot retrofit the 4-in-1 module. This is where it would go, and it just would not fit here. So I know that by looking at it, that module won't fit. Okay, the motherboard looks like a one-piece affair. There's the RF module. You've got the SD card slot down here on the bottom, the battery connection, the real-time clock battery, and the CPU. It doesn't look like it'd be too difficult if required to get at the gimbals. There's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, I'm gonna have to check Thingiverse and see if the 3D parts have started hitting yet. Overall, inside, everything looks good. I don't see anything in here that's concerning. All the cable management looks fine. I don't see anything that looks like it's tensioned or crimped. I like that they're using twisted silicone wires. That probably could be set over to the side. I don't necessarily think I want that wire near the mechanism. But yeah, that's it. I mean, overall, I don't see anything in here that's concerning. It looks very good. It looks like it's well put together. And these are your potentiometer sliders if you want to pull those off. Change those out. I'm sure there'll be plenty of 3D printed options for those on Thingiverse in the coming weeks. Well, now that I've got the TX12 button back up, I'd like to say thanks to Radiomaster for sending this unit out for review. I think there's some compelling use cases for this type of radio. Mainly, I think about travel. So if you're trying to travel light, say you're carrying everything in a backpack, or you've just got a small plane, or you want to keep something in your car. So if you find an opportunity to grab a flight here or there, you can do that. This might be a radio for something like that. It also, for children, would be a very useful radio because I think in their hands, something like this would be very easy to handle. Or if you just like lightweight and small. It's a fully functional OpenTx platform, and it looks like it's got enough capability to serve the needs of anyone looking for a basic radio. Hey, before you take off, I want you to know a full 60% of views come from people who don't subscribe to the channel. If you like this kind of content and you want to see it keep coming, you got to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when new material hits the channel. Also, check out my affiliate links if you'd like to score a TX12 for yourself. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy.